Hey guys, Swole Sharkeesha here. Just kidding. Today I'm going to be going in depth to teach you about my favorite build in Albion, the Sleepy Brimmy. In my opinion, the base requirements for the build would be the ability to wear a T7 Harvester cap and to have at least 100 spec in Brimstone, but ideally you want as close to 700 spec in Fire Staves as possible. I would not suggest attempting this build before you at least achieve that. For the build, starting with the Helm, you will at least be using a T7 Harvester cap. Ideally, a T8 one if you can wear it. This is due to the longer CC duration on the ability Magic Pollen. The tooltip does state that it puts enemies to sleep for 3 seconds regardless of the tier that you look at, but in actuality it scales with IP, meaning the higher tier one sleeps them for a much longer duration, as you can see with the clips being shown in the background. The next item in the build is the Scholar Robe. I suggest you go no higher than tier 5 as the stats gained do not matter. You'll be using the third ability, Speed Caster. It will reduce the cast time on all abilities by 50%. As for the passive, you'll be using the first passive, Aggression, to gain an 8% damage on all your abilities. The last piece of armor in the build is the boots, the Hellion shoes. You'll be using the third ability called Mark of Sacrifice. This allows you to target an enemy and become invisible for 2 seconds during the channel duration. You will then dash to the location of the target. Upon arrival, you will gain a 35% damage boost for 4 seconds. As for the passive, you'll be using the second passive, Balanced Mind, for the extra 1.5% damage. These boots play a key part in the build, which I'll be explaining later. Lastly, you'll be using my favorite weapon in Albion, the Brimstone Staff. For its abilities, you'll be using the second Q, Burning Field, and the fourth W, Fireball. As for the passive, you'll be using the fourth one, called Furious, in order to gain 10% more damage. As for the consumables, you're going to be using at least an 8-1 beef stew, but if you can afford it, an 8-2 for the extra damage. For the Invis potion, I strongly suggest using an 8-1 potion. This gives you an extra 1 second of invisibility to get into the center of the location you're wanting to bomb. The last item of the build would be the Fort Sterling Cape. You can choose if you'd like to use this or not, as it just adds an extra cost to the build. But the CC immunity that it gives might just help you land your combo. Next, I will go over how the combo is performed. The first step to this would be using your Q, Burning Field, 2 times in order to gain 2 stacks of your passive, Furious. This is important as the rest of your abilities in the combo will bring you to 5 stacks, activating the extra 10% damage boost. Next, you'll use your Invis potion and begin walking towards your target. After that, you'll use Mark of Sacrifice from your Hellion shoes. Your goal when using them is to find the centermost player to target, so you end up in the middle of the group you wish to hit. When your Hellion shoes are nearing the end of their channel, begin to press your R key, Scholar Robe, as fast as you can. This is done in order to activate its effect mid-air while flying to your target with your Hellion shoes. The reason this is important is because when you reach your destination with your Hellion shoes, you are now visible to the enemy. So by spamming the R key to activate your Scholar Robe mid-air, you now have 1 less skill to activate while visible. This makes the combo much faster and much more likely you don't get interrupted in the middle of it. Next, when you've reached your target with your Scholar Robe already activated, you will press D, using your Harvester cap to put your target to sleep. As soon as you have done that, you'll press E to begin casting your Meteor from your Brimstone, normally directly under yourself or in the middle of a clump of your sleeping targets. As soon as your Meteor cast is finished, it's important that you now press W, casting Fireball as fast as possible so that it will deal damage before your Meteor lands. The reason this is important is because if your targets are mounted, the damage from your W Fireball needs to land first in order to dismount them and allow your E Meteor to deal damage to the players, killing them instead of just dismounting them. Finally, cast your Q, Burning Field, 1 last time on top of the players that may remain with low HP in order to try and finish them off before you die. If you've done all this correctly, you should have a nice pile of dead enemies under your feet. This may seem like a complex combo, and I strongly suggest you practice using this in the yellow zone before going to the red or black zones. But once you've practiced a couple times, you should have it down pretty easy. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed this guide on how to use my favorite combo, the Sleepy Brimmy.